Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the lovely outdoors. Close your eyes for just a second. Become conscious of your breathing. And just turn your awareness, and you can hear my voice. See if you can hear the birds and the water. I don't know about you guys, but for me, one of the things that makes me feel the most grounded, the fastest, and like the quickest way for me to reset any kind of energetic junk I'm feeling moving around is to get outside in nature and spend time in nature. That's why I'm out here every Tuesday doing messages for y'all. But it's also why I'm out here another day or two, maybe 3 during the week, just taking time to connect with nature and to ground and connect with Mother Earth. For those who are watching, you probably identify as someone who is empathic or energy sensitive. Maybe you're psychic, you're intuitive, you might even be a medium, you might be a reader of some sort, or you just might be someone who really feels connected and plugged in to nature and to animals and to the emotions and the energy of people and places. And if that's the case, in my personal experience, there's science that backs, the power of grounding and the benefits of grounding. It's actually a really great documentary that maybe I'll put it in the links below to share. There are benefits to grounding that are measurable and scientific, but just from personal experience, nothing helps me reset better than spending time in nature. Even when it's cold, even when it's chilly like it is this morning, the sun is peeking out over the hill back there, which is really nice. And I came out here this morning to just sit with nature, to ground. I try to actually touch the ground if I can. Sometimes that means physically putting my feet, right on the ground. But on a day like today when it's really chilly and maybe a little damp, I actually found a spot and put my hands on the ground and did my energy clearing that way. So just a little tip, a little pro tip for those of you who are opening up intuitively and psychically and are feeling sensitive and are feeling the energies that are moving and shifting around you all the time. Nature is a great way to reset and to ground. It's the first thing I recommend to anybody who's really like on the spiritual path, because a lot of times when we start to really become aware of our energy or we're having a spiritual awakening, that sensitivity can be really intense. And I think one of the best ways to sort of mitigate being overwhelmed by those feelings and those emotions and by those energies is to get out with nature and to ground it out, to be connected to the physical body, to be connected to the physical plane. Because at the end of the day, what we are here to do, in my humble opinion, is that we are here as spiritual beings having a human experience, and we're here to be a channel for God's loving creative intelligence, God's loving awareness, and we're here to live that and embody that in a physical body, incarnate, in the flesh. That's what we're here to do. So coming out in nature and just and communing with nature, spending time is a great way to integrate those energies. Speaking of integrating energies, let's talk about the messages and guidance that came through in today's meditation that I did for the collective. So for those of you who've been following for the last couple months and for like the last couple weeks, you know that these messages come through, they ebb and flow. There's been a lot of discussion the last several months, these little, in a kind of a circular or a cyclical way. There's been a lot of discussion and a lot of talk about integration, a lot about clearing the old things and welcoming in the new stuff, becoming aware of and releasing old patterning, and making new choices in relationship to this new awareness and to the patterning that is now present in our consciousness. So it's like some of the dark stuff has come to the light. We can see it more clearly now. And a lot of the work we've been doing for several months or for years, decades, if you've been on the path for that long, is this constant process of darkness coming to light, or things coming up from the unconscious becoming conscious, and then integrating that knowledge and that awareness into our personalities and making new choices, new creative choices about who we are and what we're going to be in relationship to that awareness. And this feels very fitting for the end of the year, that the energy that's kind of carrying us into this time, and the energy that is strong with us, is one of stillness, incubation, and really allowing from the inside out ourselves the time and the space right now to sort of intentionally set a safe and sacred energetic space around us. Now, I do this every day in meditation and in my intuitive development workshops and my intuitive development group that I was just facilitating. We talk a lot about creating a sort of a safe and sacred space for doing energy work and for connecting to our intuition and for asking questions and for becoming a channel for God's loving awareness and using our intuitive senses to do that in a safe way. And that practice is a matter of grounding, connecting to earth energy and creating a bubble of earth energy, connecting to the spirit of the Heavenly Father and creating a bubble and a safe, sacred space with that energy, and then merging those energies and literally kind of in our minds energetically feeling and creating a safe energetic space. So that's one way that shows up. And this week you're being asked to create that space for yourself and to just sit in it and just be, you know? We just had the holidays. I hope you had a safe holiday. I hope you had an opportunity to connect to friends or family or loved ones, or even yourself, to God, to spirit, in some way. So I hope you found your way into finding connectivity. I know this time of year can be hard for some folks for numerous reasons, and from me to you and from my heart and my soul to yours, I hope that this time and this space that we have here at the end of the year can be a time and a space to reflect, to connect to divine loving awareness that we have access to within us and all around us. And I hope that that really serves you heading into the new year. So we're being called into, from the inside out, sort of intentionally creating a safe and sacred space. And the imagery and the sensations that I got was like, it was just outside of me. Like it was just coming from the inside, and it's about what I could touch. It's about my immediate environment. And the way I sensed this was doing this in meditation, right? Setting safe and sacred space in our meditations. Ooh, that sun is really coming in hot. Setting safe and sacred space in our meditations, but also doing this like in our home environment. So, you know, if you live in a shared housing environment, this would be like creating a safe and sacred space. It could be your room, right? If you live alone, it's just your home and your house. Or even if you are in shared housing, it's like creating those things, making mindful and intentional choices about setting the energetic boundaries, setting intentional space in what you surround yourself with. So this can be the actual things in your household. This could be the people that you allow to come in and out of your home. How people conduct themselves in that space is also important. How you conduct yourself in that space is important. So the next several days or the next week, some of the guidance that's coming through here was really encouraging us to be still, to be restful, and in any activity that we do, let it come from a place of deep awareness, of deep intention. Let it be done in a way that's, you know, sort of casual and lackadaisical, but it's intentional. We're just taking our time. There's nothing hurried about this time. There's nothing overly urgent. It was like this unfolding that came from the inside out, and like everything that I could touch, I was being very intentional about the space that I was creating, about my actions. And this was about setting the tone for the new year and then giving yourself a couple days to recalibrate and reset. You know, for those who've been following for months, we've been doing this thing where we're clearing out the old and welcoming in the new, making new intentions, choosing how we're going to relate to, you know, old parts of ourselves or old dynamics. And this very much is calling that in a very fresh way. So it's like being really conscious and being really clear and just setting safe energetic space around you that you not only intentionally set, but that you're going to return to and that you're going to retain. This came up in a reading yesterday for someone, and it was just really strong. And it was funny for this sensation to come in for this collective reading this morning. I feel it's so important to just focus on the conscious choices we're making that come from the inside out. So this is about conscious choosing for our highest good as it serves our body, conscious choosing, the environment that we set for ourselves, like physically, like in our rooms or our home space and in our environment, our relationships. It's really about intentionally doing this, because whether we know it or not, the unconscious influence is this process is taking place. This process is being supported on a spiritual level. So whether you know it or are conscious of it or not, you might realize that things that don't serve you are being cleared out, and things that don't serve your highest good are kind of like the flashing red lights are constantly going off, and the red flags are waving all over the place, and it's like, red alert, danger, Will Robinson, danger. Pay attention to those things, because unconsciously, whether you realize it or not, you could be sleepwalking through this experience right now, and you will notice that the things that don't serve you, or maybe it's, you can see it in people around you, that stuff is being stripped away. People are being kind of steered away from that stuff and towards their highest good if they're open to it. And it's always going to flow that direction. Even if they're not open to it, they might resist it. And we're seeing a lot of that collectively. But it's just, spirit is like water. It's like a river. It just flows, and it's got one destination, and it's going back to God. All of it, all of this stuff is going back to God. Whether you realize it, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's right, whether you think it's wrong, whether you want to judge it, whether you're judged by it, it's like everything in the universe is on a journey to reconnecting and remerging and reintegrating with God and God consciousness. So we can either get in the boat and paddle with the stream, or we can swim upstream. We can turn the boat around and try to paddle upstream, and it might not be very effective because it's always flowing that direction. So know that the unconscious influence is, in a very kind of personal and intimate way, you are being guided and supported in sort of the guardrails and the guide rails, the infrastructure, the framing for your highest good and a life that reflects and respects and honors that is being energetically created. So if you're like me, I tend to not try and fight that, right? I want to step into what serves my highest good. It's the reason why when I ask, or when I do readings, I ask simply, the one simple question is, what does so-and-so need to know today for their highest good and for their highest spiritual growth? It's this one simple basic question that I ask, and I see what comes through, because I know that all of life manifests from the level of consciousness and the level of energy. And I know if we get in and we work with that in a conscious and intentional way, we can really transform our lives, and we can really step into much higher dimensions of love and grace and mercy, compassion, creativity, and higher dimensions of intelligence if we step into that space that is being held for us by God and by Spirit, by our spirit guides and the enlightened masters, men and women who have walked the earth before us. That structure, that potential and possibility is there for us. So really that's what wanted to come through today, was about setting safe and sacred space, safe and sacred intentional space, allowing that to unfold from the inside out, and being just really intentional about your immediate environment, being really intentional about that which serves your highest good on an energetic level, right? So meditation, connecting with nature, creating safe and sacred space like we were talking about in your meditation. And then the next level out from that is like safe and sacred space, well, your body. You've heard your body's a temple. Take care of your body. Love on it, nourish it, protect it, keep it safe, and do what you have to do to keep it safe and others safe. And then we go out just a little bit further, and it's like, well, what space do we inhabit energetically? A lot of times it's going to be our home. That's the next step. So what can we touch? What can we mindfully and intentionally create in our homes to support our highest good? That's the focus for the next week. We don't have to look any further than that for the next week or so, because there's so much work to do there. That's where the energy reset. That's where the opportunity lies right now in this moment as we head into the new year. So that's it, folks. That's a wrap. I hope this message serves you on your journey. I hope it serves your highest good. If you have questions or reflections, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Shoot me a direct message. If this message and this guidance is helpful to you, feel free to drop some tip in my Venmo tip jar at the Bomberger on Venmo. It is not required, but always appreciated. Thank you all so much for your time, energy, and attention, and I will see you soon. Peace.